Hello everyone! In 8th session of Accounting Information System Development course, we're talking about architecture design. In this session, I will explain about architecture designs, elements of an architecture design, and hardware and software specification. Important step of design phase is the creation of the architecture design. The plan for how the information system components will be distributed across multiple computers and what hardware, operating system software, and application software will be used on each computer. Architecture design is to determine how the software components of the information system will be assigned to the hardware device on the system. Designing the system architecture can be quite difficult. Many organizations use the skills of expert system architects who specialize in the task. Now, I will explain about software components. Software components divide into first data storage. Data storage is a most information system required data to be stored and retrieved. Wherever, a small file or a large database that stores an organization's human resource records. These are the data entities documented in ERD. Second, data access logic. The processing required to access data, often meaning database queries in SQL. Third, application logic. The logic documented in the functional and behavioral models can be explained as data flow diagram, use case, and functional requirements. It depends on who the system architect that responsible in this architecture design. Fourth, is presentation logic. Presentation logic, display of information to the user and the acceptance of the user comments. Usually we know it user interface. Next, hardware components. Hardware components divide into first client computers. Client computers is input and output device employed by the user and are usually desktop or laptop computers, but can also be handheld device such as smartphones, special purpose terminal, and so on. Second is servers. Servers typically are large computers used to store software and data that can be accessed by anyone who has permission. Third, networks. The network that connects the computer can vary in speed from soft cell phones or modern connection that must be dealt, to medium speed always on frame relay networks, to fast always on broadband connection such as cable modem, DSL, or TI circuit, to high speed always on internet, C3 or ATM circuits. There are many ways in which the application logic can be partitioned between the client and the server. Client-server tiers divide into two-tier architecture, three-tier architecture, and n-tier architecture. First, we will going to talk about two-tier architectures. There are two types of two-tier architecture. First, server-based architecture. Server-based architecture has two different layers. First, client, and second, server. All software components are in server. Server computers become overloaded and unable to quickly process all the user's demands. Response times become slower, and network managers are required to spend increasingly more money to upgrade the server computer. The second type of two-tier architectures is client-based architectures. Client-based architecture has two layers, first client and second server. Presentation logic and application logic are on the client, and data access logic and data storage are on the server. As the demands for more and more network applications grow, the network circuits can become overloaded. All the data in the database must travel from the server where the database is stored over the network to the client, which then examines each record to see whether it matches the data requested by the user. This can overload both the network and the power of the client computers. Next, three-tier architecture. Three-tier architecture has three different layers. The software on the client computer is responsible for presentation logic, and application server is responsible for the application logic, and a spread database server is responsible for the data access logic and data storage. Example of three-tier architecture is Netflix. How can we say Netflix as an example of three-tier architecture? In Netflix, users start by login in either via the web or via mobile application. Once user log in, user might access a specific video through the Netflix interface, which is the presentation tier used by user as end user. Last, entire architecture. In entire, N refers to a number of tiers or layers are being used. Like example, you have 4 tiers or depends on how many tiers you have. In this entire architecture, we have 4 components. Each of the 4 components in entire architecture is separate. It makes it easy to spread the different components on different servers and to partition the application logic on a web-oriented server and a business-oriented server. This type of architecture common in today's is web-based e-commerce systems. Another example is BINUS Maya website. BINUS Maya categorized as entire architecture because BINUS Maya website has many views that can be accessed according to their role. Here some hardware and software specification that can be used. And here, the example of hardware and software specification for entire system architecture. The following is an example case of sportation. Type of architecture of sportation is three-tier architecture because this application is specific for users. User can access the application through mobile device. And the benefit of using three-tier architecture are new hardware, such as new servers, can also be added at a later time to deal with massive amounts of data or particularly demanding service. And it also allows company to scale up by adding multiple web servers at the later. After you determine the architecture type of sportation, you can decide which hardware and system software specification that suit and needed for the application.